everyone. Welcome to the B-Side Breakdown. My name is Brett Johnson, and I am your host. This is episode 44 of a podcast where I talk with other artists, musicians, and songwriters about a song they've written that is meaningful to them, that they can give me permission to play on this episode in its entirety so you, the listener, can hear it before we chat about it. The goal is to chat with the band, get deep into the why behind it's meaningful to them, and find out what they're working on and what else is kind of coming up on the pipeline for them. So today we're going to be talking to the band Too Late But Still about their song Feedback City. So let's get into it. Here is Feedback City by Too Late But Still.
Finding a red ring that says carpe diem in a parking lot. Getting gifted one with a star that scars your knuckles. A knit green sweater found off of 6th Street. And a dozen or so rosaries given to me by my mom. Summoning a lost friend while tripping balls in the desert. Going to jail twice wearing the same plaid shirt. Attending art shows for the free booze. And eventually realizing you don't really laugh much. If you're gonna stay, we might as well tell each other our stories. We're joking about the apocalypse. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. We're joking about the apocalypse. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. I'm getting back into bad habits again. 'Cause they make me feel good, 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 good. It's getting easier running on empty. Ready to blow, stay on the floor, try to figure out what to tell yourself. I'm getting back into bad habits again. 'Cause they make me feel good, 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 good. It's getting easier running on empty. Ready to blow, stay on the floor, try to figure out what to tell yourself. Come on, get out. Come on, get out. Come on, get out. Come on, get out. Those houses, those roads, those bears and the cupboards. Come on, get out. Come on, get out. Give me the time, give me the place. Give me the time, give me the place. Give me the time, give me the place. Yeah, I'll avoid it. Give me the time, give me the place. Give me the time, give me the place. Give me the time, give me the place. It's not the same. Give me the time, give me the place. Give me the time, give me the place. Give me the time, give me the place. Yeah, I'll avoid it. Give me the time. Give me the place. 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 I'll avoid it.
All right, and that was Feedback City by Too Late But Still. We're going to take a quick break and come back and talk with the band about the song and about everything else that's going on in their space. So stay with us and we'll be right back. Hey everyone, it's Brett again with the B-Side Breakdown. I just want to say, if you want to hear these episodes without any ads, please go to patreon.com/slash B-Side Breakdown and become a subscriber to our Down for the Cause tier. It's $5 a month. You get all of the episodes ad-free in advance, and it's just a great way to show your support for this labor of love. Anyway, please head over to patreon.com/slash B-Side Breakdown. Thanks, we'll be right back. All right, and we are back. Let's bring in the guys from Too Late But Still and talk about the song Feedback City. Hey guys, thank you so much for taking some time today to talk with me about the song.
Thanks for having us. We really
Yeah.
appreciate being here.
Yeah,
Most-
appreciate you having us, Brett.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I know sometimes, hey listeners, when I working with a band and doing an episode, sometimes they give me the honor of picking the song that we're going to talk about. And so these guys recently just put out a record, a 4-song record called Night Songs, and it came out in September of this year. And I'll let them talk all about that. But that song, Feedback City, was the one that hit me the most. So since I wanted you guys to talk about that, tell me about Feedback City and why that's the lead off track in your record.
Feedback City's it was a really interesting song. In our writing process, we all come from extremely different backgrounds. I grew up playing death metal and hardcore. Rob played in some hardcore bands, metalcore bands, but more into like the indie rock scene. Our bass player Jason, same thing. George was in some punk bands. We're kind of all from all over the country. When we put the band together, we just decided collectively that we all had a ton of overlap in music that was all over the place. And we didn't want to have necessarily like just the traditional boundaries of like, you're going to play in a hardcore band, or you're going to play in a punk band, or you're going to play in this. We've really approached all of our songwriting in that way. Feedback City, it's every part of that song just kind of came organically as we were writing it. We've been writing more in like movements instead of like the traditional, rock format of like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus kind of thing. And that song, as we were working on it, it was just fluid ideas from all of us coming together.
Got it. No, that makes sense. And I like how you call out that your songwriting structure isn't formulaic at all. And that's true. I mean, from what I experienced on all 4 of the songs, which I also loved. Your tones are ridiculous. The gang vocals are awesome. The breakdowns are so great. And I love that, hearing that background, of where your roots come from, because I think that's resonates with me. I have some similar roots. And so, I think those are the things that really grab at me in it. And it's just, yeah, I love it. The artwork is great. Everything about it is great. So thank you for putting that out there. And again, this came out just September 26th, right?
Yep.
Cool. And did you self-release this? Are you working with anybody on it, or did you guys put this out yourself? Or are you making CDs or vinyl, or is it all just digital only?
We've self-released everything we've done.
Okay.
For physical media, we actually just do like singles with a B-side on 7-inch for short run stuff that's all lathe cut.
Got it.
For that we sell at shows, but we don't really do physical media. We have talked about doing some cassettes and stuff, but nothing for major release.
Sure. No, that makes sense. So when did Too Late But Still come together? Because I look at your catalog in, for all listeners, on bandcamp.com, where there's Bandcamp Fridays, where if you buy all the records, all that money goes to the band. I see that your first release was in April of 2024. So when did the band come together, and how did it come together?
Yeah, so actually Rob and I kind of started putting this band together. Rob is a much better musician than I am. Every day of the week, I will acknowledge that. Rob wanted to start playing drums, and one day we got talking, and he started talking about loving like Refused and stuff like that, and we really connected on those things. I'd gotten in a motorcycle accident back in 2018, and I was really, really struggling writing. Like, I mechanically could play, but I just, like, nothing was mentally connecting for me. And Rob really had a lot of grace in like working with me and like working on writing and challenging like how I wrote and a lot of the just kind of bringing some ideas to fruition. I want to say we started what 2.5 years ago, Rob?
Gosh, I think it's about like 2.5 or almost 3 years ago now.
Got it.
Yeah. And Rob learned how to play drums for this thing.
Really?
Uh, yeah, well, I mean, I'll just like put in there like I played drums in like so I was like a band geek in high school. Like
Sure.
I did like I played trumpet and I did all the band things, and then there was a point in high school where I had the opportunity to like play with the like it was like a winter drum line kind of thing.
Okay.
So I started playing drums at that point, and I know like I from then I've always like really loved like figuring out the rhythm of songs and stuff like that. But until I met Dean, like I had never really, I had actually, I will say, yeah, I've never played drums in a band before at that time.
You're a band band geek, I think is how you said it, which I understand because I was that too. And then you learned or decided to play drums in this, and that's when you started playing drums is for this, and which is great because listening to it, I love your playing and love the style of kind of all of it. So then, Dean, Are you playing guitar?
Yes, I am playing guitar.
Okay.
And don't let Rob fool you. Rob's played in a lot of bands. He's a singer, guitar player, and a bass player also.
Awesome. Awesome. Multi instrumentalist goodness. I imagine kind of all three of you are.
Yeah, I mean, I've played horrible punk rock guitar in my day.
Hell yeah.
And I'm a terrible drummer.
Oh well, you know.
We all have a lot in common then. I am an awful drummer. I'm an okay rhythm guitar player. I think bass is sort of my forte, and yeah, that's where that ends for me. But that's cool. So then, what does Jason do?
Jason plays bass and does backing vocals.
Okay, cool. So there's just the two singers, or do all four of you contribute?
On the records, Rob has done some vocals on it, and I think there's a couple of barky bits I've done live, but not on the records.
Got it. Cool.
Jason's done a couple backing vocals on like the first EP, and yeah, he's done a couple parts here and there.
Got
Yeah,
it.
if you listen to like our first record or
Yeah.
that Deftone single we put out, Rob did the singing parts on those.
Got it. Okay. The Deftone single, talk to me about that. When and where did that happen, and where can I see it or hear it?
Yeah, so there's a charity organization that Andrew Chaka and Brad Gunnarsson were working with called Oasis for Youth.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew one day asked us if we were interested in doing a song for it. Kind of gave me a little bit of a background of what they were doing. We as a group kind of talked about it, and I think all of us, we definitely the Deftones were part of like our growing up, but the Deftones were never a band that was like necessarily instrumental in any of our like upbringing as
Yep.
musicians.
Sure.
But they had a lot of like cool textures and stuff going on. Of course, when we were all young guys, those first two Deftone records were kind of big parts of our world, whether it was your thing or not, right?
Yep.
And we started having a conversation about it and just started looking at some later era stuff. And just to the group, I was like, what about You've Seen the Butcher? And we kind of all just silently agreed it was the song. It was one of those like, oh yeah, and that was it. And we moved forward. And I think one of the big things in our piece that we did on that was we wanted to make sure that it was something that sounded like us while still capturing kind of some of like the essence of the Deftones.
No, that makes a ton of sense. So where can people go find that?
It's available on our Spotify. Is this in the single form? There is for the songs you saved.bandcamp.com is where you can actually get the entire compilation of all of the bands that were on there. There's a lot of great music on there, a lot of like everyone did a great job. And that the any proceeds from that go to the charity organization.
Oh, that's great. And I'll be sure to link that and include that in the social post when I make one. Is that also is that digital only, or is there physical copies available?
I think that's digital only.
Okay, cool.
We did do a 7-inch pressing of it that or lathe cut of it that we did like 50 copies of.
Got it. Awesome. 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 Awesome.
Only available at shows.
Only available
Only.
at shows. Okay, cool.
Yep.
So speaking of that, when is there, do you have a show coming up?
We don't have anything booked right now.
Nothing booked right now. So sorry, everybody, you can't go to a show and get it yet, but keep on the lookout for Too Late But Still, and then you'll be able to get one at their next show. So it says that you're from Minnesota, kind of generically in Bandcamp. Are you all actually Minnesota natives?
Just me.
Hey, Jason.
I'm
Thanks for
I'm
joining,
not.
dude.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I just walked in the door too. I was born in Oklahoma and then lived in Texas, but my family moved up here when I was like 13, 14. So
Gotcha.
I spent some time in California also, but only about 4 years. So I've been here since the late 80s, minus that 4 years in California.
Yep, makes sense. So everybody lives in Minnesota, and the reason I ask is just kind of in general post-COVID, and with the the availability of, hey, we can really make records remotely no matter where anybody is, kind of thing. I didn't know if that was kind of true here, that everybody was kind of geographically dispersed, or if you're all in the same spot. Like, do you have a practice space you actually go to?
Yeah, well, we practice and record all our demos at Dean's place.
Awesome.
But I mean, like, I guess we're spread out between the Twin Cities.
Sure.
But no, I think, Dean's the only Minnesota native. I'm from Texas as well. Originally, I've been up here about 3.5 years.
Nice.
Uh-huh.
Rob, where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Ohio. So yeah, I know. But yeah, I met Dean a few years back, and that's kind of how we made that connection to start playing music, and then and then we just kind of kept adding people in.
Yeah.
Got it. And so, right. So you're in Minnesota, you actually practice in a room together, which is great. I'm jealous because I haven't been able to do that in quite a while, and I'm hoping to build something new again so I can go do that. But that's awesome and really inspiring to hear. And plus the kind of, the prolificness and the way that you guys seem to be writing is also super exciting to me. That, I mean, you've had 3 releases in a really short amount of time. What is I'm interested in kind of when do you come to the conclusion, wait, this is only going to be 4 songs? Like, or is it just what you had done? Hey, let's release it. I mean, is there like a method to your madness, or is it just kind of as it comes?
Well, originally, we had enough for, I guess, kind of a longer release. But we decided to actually split it up into 2 separate releases. Just, at least on my end, I can't speak for the rest of the guys, but, like, relatively newer band that not a lot of people know. You don't really want to force them to try to make like a investment to hear 8 to 10 songs from a new band. 4 songs, is a pretty solid number. You can get the gist of things.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah, there's a little bit about just kind of the organic nature of it too. Like the first release was definitely kind of we've got all these songs, we should do something with it. The EP, I think we had like 8 or 9 songs total that were kind of written, ready to go. But we decided that we wanted to split the releases up just because, social media and all the crap that goes along with that. You get a lot more by releasing more frequently.
Sure.
And there were like 4 songs that clearly like fit together really well. And there are 4 or 5 songs that clearly fit together really well. And it just kind of felt more organic to release them that way.
No, I totally get that. I get it. Makes sense. And yeah, I was just wondering if for some reason I thought of the first 2 Fugazi releases actually, and then how they combined into 13 songs. But I was like, right. It seemed like, they had their first one and then Margin Walker. And it was like, well, no, that was just like a separate body of work. But I get what you're saying. I think that's makes a ton of sense. And I know I've done that in previous bands as well. Sometimes, yeah, I mean, like the last thing I did, I put out like some sort of EP and I was thinking about, this should really be a full length record, but George, kind of to your point, I'm like, yeah, I don't know that I need to shove, force somebody into 10 songs when it's like, let's just give them a few and see how that goes. And I love that idea of, yeah, it's kind of the nature of the beast nowadays where, right, you can put out, singles and keep promoting them all on socials, and it just kind of creates more attention and more listeners and more people who are interested, which is awesome. So then
I think
go
too,
ahead.
sorry, just to jump in. I think too, one of the things that I've seen, like not so much like on the front end before, we were recording, but seeing the way that the very first release, kind of the production of it, the way that it sounds like, and then the way that the newest one, Night Songs does, like, I think splitting it up into those smaller chunks kind of gives you the ability to kind of tailor the production and the sound of the whole, of all 4 songs into that vibe in a way that, like trying to spread that out and incorporate more songs into it, like maybe doesn't work, or it's maybe not quite as fitting.
No, I hear it. And just one thing I want to actually, Jason, one thing I want to say real quick. I mean, I'm a big fan of my bass tone because I've dialed it in for decades and it's thunderous and brutal, but I love your bass tone on Night Songs. It just slays. It is so awesome. I'm just like,
Thanks,
oh my God, that is how a bass should sound. It is just
I'm
awesome.
gonna pass that right over to Dean. He's
Good job, Dean. Good work, man. Oh, that's so good. Rob, I think I cut you off. What were you going to say? Sorry about that.
I was just going to like agree with Jason that like, I think what I like about putting out, we did like 6 songs and then we do 4 songs, and having been in many bands that was like, there's a pressure to put out like, like a full full
Like
LP
full
with
length.
like
Yeah.
12 songs.
Right.
Actually like capturing what we're thinking about right now and then just getting it out there. And then like, there's other songs there, but like, just like recording those songs and getting them out and then being able to play on those songs. Like, um, I really like that as a format. It wasn't available to me, like 15, 20 years ago when I was doing it. So it's like, I'd prefer just to get like, like our thoughts out like on a handful of songs and then like keep doing, batches of songs, versus like having to feel like we have to, really pull something together that would be like a 12 or, 13 song, LP.
Yeah. And I hear that. And that's one of the things that so far I've really loved about your whole approach and how you do this is it just seems so organic. Like that's the thing that I love about it. Even the down to the non-formulaic songwriting, like all of that. I mean, everything that you're doing from the way that you're playing it, how you're releasing it, the artwork that you're doing, like all of those things, that all just feels like, just kind of like you're saying, this is the sound and the tone of these thoughts. Like this is what we were doing right here, right now. And this is the batch that we put out. And then you're on to the next one. And I think that's amazing. I mean, I love that model, and I think you guys are doing it exceptionally well.
Yeah, I really do think a lot of our songs kind of like feel like Polaroid pictures. You know, they're just like they're
That's
snapped in the
great.
moment. They like slowly develop, and
Yeah,
then they turn into what they turn into.
I
that's
think the
awesome.
other thing that I pull from it is like when we're focusing on a smaller set of songs and stop worrying about hitting a length or hitting a number of songs or
Right.
hitting some stat that somebody else cared about,
Yep.
we really get to focus on those songs. We really get to focus on the nuance in the songs. We spend a lot of time making sure we're, not repeating parts and not like just kind of all playing the same thing and stuff like that. And it lets us focus on that a lot more than, back in the day when you would have to get 40 minutes together just to get your LP there. So a record label might care to look at you.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I
I was just
definitely.
gonna say the
Go
same
ahead,
thing.
Jason.
Like the ability to like have that kind of like detailed focus on a smaller number of things, I think really comes out, because then you can also kind of like pack all those little things into, it makes each individual song and those four songs together like so much richer as a result of being able to put your focus into that small amount,
I do.
and
I
then
remember
have it
chasing
done and
those.
then be done, and then move on to the next one and do the same thing.
Right. I mean, yeah, I remember the taxing. That whole dynamic just sucks. As soon as I think about it, I'm like, oh God, that just felt awful. Like I hated that notion of, oh my God, we have to have this many songs on a record because if we don't, then and then you're sort of hate writing almost, and it's like that to
Yeah.
me isn't fun at all and doesn't feel good. And then it feels, yeah, artistically like the vision and focus and mission is just diluted and like where is it? And it feels like that when you listen to it. I mean, I have some records that certainly have that, and yeah, again, I applaud your approach and just that focus on the art and just creating the art and make it what it is, and then get it out, and that's your voice in that Polaroid moment. I mean, that's such a perfect way to capture that. Like
Yeah, totally.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, sometimes like when we focus on a smaller batch of songs, we can focus on little tiny parts of the song that might seem inconsequential to like a casual listener, but
Sure.
we'll be going over the same part like 6 or 7 times, and I guess we all have different concepts of counting.
No musician identifies with that. Yeah, that's hilarious. Oh,
I'm
that's
being
awesome.
called out on that.
No, it's all of us. It's all of us.
Oh, that's funny.
But
I feel offended, George.
Oh, that's
but
But we all
when
know
we
I'm
overcome
the
that hurdle,
problem.
it works out.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm really glad that we like go through that and that we like get frustrated because like this is probably the first band that I've ever been in where I'll like regularly jam my own stuff like on my own. Um yeah, and I think it's because like of all those like little nuances and that hyper focus that we do on like batches of songs at a time.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's great. Well, is there anything specific about Night Songs or, I mean, Feedback City overall that y'all want to touch on that we haven't talked about?
I don't know what you guys talked about before I jumped on. Once again, sorry, public transportation. As much as I love
Yeah.
it, it's really weird.
It's all good, dude.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys covered on that song before, but
Well, you just have to listen to the episode and find out.
I know, right? I guess like lyrically, the lyrics in that song are by and large like autobiographical true story
Okay.
things. Yeah, like literally everything in that song for the most actually I think everything did kind of happen, like I did find a ring in a that says Carpe Diem, which I still have. That the knit green sweater was a sweater I found in Austin during South by Southwest one year. It was really cold, and we were like running around through some alleyways because we were just troublemakers. And I found it, and I was like, "Cool, alleyway sweater, awesome." I did go to jail twice wearing the same shirt.
The same plaid shirt.
Same
I
plaid shirt.
never wore it again after that. And
That's funny. Like
It was
bad
pretty
luck.
funny.
Bad.
Getting rid of
That's
it.
bad juju, bro.
It was pretty funny because and by like these are like traffic violations. Never like I'm not a hardened criminal. But yeah, I was getting my mugshot. The sheriffs start laughing, and they're all like, "Hey, man, you're wearing the same shirt as last time you were here." And they showed me, and it was pretty funny.
Thanks, cops. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's funny.
No, but they were actually like, I
No,
laughed
I'm just
with
kidding.
them,
Yeah.
so the
No,
whole
that's
process
cool.
was a little cooler.
Of course. That's fun. Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about didn't get into the lyrics, so thanks for adding that. We talked about kind of the influences, how it all came together, and that you don't write in a formulaic way, and all those things that kind of scream when you listen to it. But no, that's great. Thanks for adding that.
Yeah.
Like one thing I'll say, kind of it's very kind of self-aggrandizing gratification kind of thing, but like as we've gotten older, like we all did this a bunch when we were younger, and we probably put way more like stress and effort and stuff into it. But like just working on the songs, I've always kind of been afraid that, people wouldn't listen to what we were doing. And, we're a bunch of old men at the end of the day.
Sure.
But like we released this thing and we've gotten written up like in 15 different news articles. Like people in like Mexico and Brazil are writing it up. They really like love what we're doing, and it's been really, really kind of a cool feeling to like feel that. And it's, in this day and age, it's a very different release cycle than, when I was a kid, and we'd
Definitely.
release a record on, some DIY label and then go, spend a month trying to get, play shows all around the country, and some are way better than others and some are way worse than others. And
Yep.
who showed up on tour with $20 in their pocket and is mad. And it's a very different feeling, and we don't have any of that kind of noise that went along with it when we were younger, and I really appreciate that, and that other people have taken notice of it.
Yeah. Well, and that echoes, I think, my response to it too. Like when I first started listening to it, I'm like, oh my God, like this, it was so refreshing. And so just, I had like a physical, almost visceral response to it. I'm like, I got to keep listening to this and digest all 4 songs. And I think it's compelling. It feels authentic as fuck, and I love that. And it just, there's nothing about it that there's any shred of put on anywhere that anyone could ever call out. Not that I'm saying you guys would ever do anything like that at all, but I'm just saying, I think I'm just echoing that the accolades you're getting and the people that are paying attention to it and writing about it, hell yeah, man. Like it's great. Like I think it's great. So I'm super stoked for you guys.
Thank you.
I'm really happy with that. Like, because yeah, it is a weirdly structured song, and I kind of feel like the structuring of it came out pretty organically. It wasn't really like we weren't really tryhards about like making it weird and
Right.
for the sake of being
It doesn't
weird.
sound like that at all. It doesn't sound
You know?
like you intended it to be, oh, let's make this, like what? There's none of that in there at all. Like I don't feel any of that.
I mean, I'll just say, like, my thing with it is that, like, ultimately, it ended up being like 4 people that have played a lot of music in their life, right? Like they've toured, they've done all this stuff, and then all of a sudden we had a chance to create something new. And what I really truly love about this this band is that we are we're really open with how we feel about certain parts, or like certain, like as we do the writing process, it's like anyone can say anything, like,
Yeah, totally.
I feel like this could be different, or I could feel like this could be different, and for me, like, again, like I've never played drums in a band ever, so I'm kind of like, for me it's like it's all daisies. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to try whatever, but we have a lot of amazing, we basically have like four really good songwriters, and have created a situation where we feel very comfortable um, telling each other what we feel like as we're like working on songs, and we don't get offended by that feedback. So what that really, ultimately ultimately what we're doing is like just kind of pushing towards the best kind of
Yeah, totally.
version of that song. It's and so it's really great. I love playing with great songwriters and like and musicians, and the people in this band are all of those things, and so it's just great, to do that. And you know any of their feedback throughout the songwriting process, I take it, I take that to heart. I'm like, okay, he says this something like, okay, how could we do that a little bit differently? And I think that's so we I think we all land on something that we feel really good about as far as a song.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. Did you guys already talk about the fact that nobody is that we're all guitarists?
Yeah, yeah, I know it is true. Yeah, it is true. Like all four of us play guitar and have been songwriters, and then
That's
we just
amazing.
decided to do
But
different.
Rob's never played drums. I've never played bass. Uh,
Wow,
so
that's
I've done both.
awesome. It's funny, I started chuckling there for a second, Rob, and it wasn't that I thought anything you said was funny, but as soon as you said that, yeah, we don't get offended. I'm like, yeah, it's because you aren't from Minnesota. Like, if you were all from
yeah.
Minnesota, I
Yeah,
would love to see what that would look like. I'm just kidding, but no, that's awesome. Yeah, and
I do
thanks.
think too,
Go
like
ahead.
to Dean's point earlier about us being old men, I think also that there's something about like I at least for me, I can't speak for everybody, but it's definitely the feeling that I have is that we don't really have anything to prove to anybody anymore. You know, it's like we're just doing we're writing the kind of music that like makes us happy, that fulfills us, and it's not like about trying to
Get signed.
tour the country like you were saying and like get followers and blah 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 whatever. It's just like, no, dude, like we all have lives and we all have like you know established like things. I don't
Yep.
need to make a living doing this.
Sure.
So that just takes away all this other pressure and all this other kind of bullshit, for lack of a better term, and just makes it about like Rob was saying, like, what's the best outcome that these four, dudes can come up with in a room together.
Yeah, I totally understand that and echo that. I remember being on tour once, and one of the guys I was on tour with is a guy that made his living off of his art. And I remember him saying to me, "Man, I wish I didn't have to, because I have to. Like, I have to make this work." And it's like, then your art becomes your day job, And I'm like, man, as
Right.
much as I hate sitting in a cubicle and doing the stupid shit I do every day, it's like I would much rather not have to do that and just go make the music I want to make with my friends, and that feels amazing, and that enables me to express what I want. I think that to me is the
Yeah,
point,
totally.
regardless of what that A&R person's going to say or blah 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 blah. Just whatever. Like, I think that's great. You guys are doing it how you're doing it.
Yeah, for me personally, like I, Brett, I don't know. We never really knew each other back in the day, but I
Sure.
definitely knew of you. I was doing sound down at Station 4.
Yeah,
Me and Andy Crow,
of
you
course.
probably know really well, Brad,
Yep.
all those guys.
Yep.
All of us are friends. when I got off the road, when I finally stopped, I was playing in 6 bands. I was running a recording studio and I was doing live sound, and it was because I had to.
Right.
And when I stopped that, I quit every band but one, and I let that fizzle out organically. And I changed jobs, and it took 5 years for me to pick up a guitar.
I hear it.
Like you'd pick up a guitar and look at it and be like, "Oh, I need to set this up," and just throw it back in the stand. And it just took forever.
No, I understand that. I had, I mean, I just want to share that I had a similar experience. I was in a touring band for a while where I didn't have a day job, and that's what I did for 4 years. And then when that stopped, um, songwriting as a spiritual being was pissed off at me, and it was just like, you know what, dude, you don't get to fucking do this for a while. And it was like it's like I had abused my relationship with songwriting, and there was no creativity, and I yeah, it was really challenging for me. And then at some point, finally, that sort of window opened again, and I was able to start really creating. But right, I mean, when you have to do it, it's a whole different animal.
Yeah,
But good for you, Dean,
I'm,
for doing what you did, man.
I'm glad all of us found catharsis and coming back to it.
Hell yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
right on. Well, let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back and find out what you guys are working on next, because I know you got some things cooking. Cool?
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right. Cool. Everybody hang out. We'll be right back. All right. We are back with Too Late But Still. We were talking about the song Feedback City. We got all 4 of them now. So, everybody's here. Guys, thank you so much for, again, hanging out with me tonight and talking with me about the song, the band, your records, and your process. Um, So, what else do you have coming up? I know someone mentioned a record, maybe a video, something like that. And then, I'm interested in hearing anything else you want to share about your process.
Yeah, so right now we're working on a music video for Feedback City, actually. We're working with a local illustrator animator who is doing an anime video based off of the lyrics of the song. Really kind of excited to work with them and see their output. We're, talking storylines, storyboards, stuff like that, starting to rough things out. And it's been a really kind of fun experience to have. It hasn't felt like a chore like some of that stuff could feel back in the day.
Sure. No, that's great. That's great. And what's the target date that you're hoping this comes out?
We're real loose on it, but I was kind of hoping maybe 2 months, 3 months.
Oh, cool. Okay. Great. So
I'm
that
down with
means for
it.
everybody else, Q1 2026 somewhere, and hopefully that timeline we'll see it. Just because of where we are today. Anyway,
Yes.
awesome. That's great. What
Yeah,
else?
hopefully it comes out before the next EP.
The next EP. So speaking of that, so you already have that kind of framed up, or is it still in process, or kind of is the body of work that's going to be on the next EP already written, or are you still in the writing process?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got 7 songs for it. The
Okay.
7 songs are just in the last kind of phases of getting brushed up, cleaned up, kind of expressing ideas, changes, things like that. And then we start rehearsals for actually starting recording on it.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to just touch up a few things on some of the lyrics I'm writing. Um yeah, like we're finishing up a lot of the songs and they're almost in their final form before we dig in to get them like really tight. But yeah, I gotta change up some lyrics, which I do all the time. Sometimes I write something that doesn't sit well once the song starts sounding better, if that makes sense. Like it
Sure.
just doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't
Totally.
flow as well.
Yeah.
Um, and that's cool because like how I said, I was late because I was taking the train home from work. And fun fact, most of my lyrics are written while on the train. Like I listen to our practice demos, and write and edit on the train. So that should be something that I'll be working on the next couple weeks.
Nice. And then what about Dean? You were talking something about how your artwork comes together. Like, you want to talk more about that?
Yeah, so we've worked with some photographers on the record covers and just really kind of handed them the songs and said, "Hey, go through your photography and find something that like you feel fits this," letting their inspiration from it really talk to it. And the last two record covers have been created that way. And then we took that artwork and then did what we were going to do with it, but really kind of let them have their expression in it. And I really like the output of what that became because of it. I think having other people's ideas and what we do makes it cooler. It just makes everything feel more
Yeah.
full and more rounded and like a whole idea.
And where are you finding the photographers? Are they just in kind of the pool of people you know, or are you
Yep.
reaching out specifically for other folks?
First cover was actually a picture that George took when he was on tour with one of his previous bands. And then we kind of built the idea around what that was based off of a couple of other pieces of inspiration. The last two covers were with a photographer out of Chicago that I grew up with in the hardcore scene. We kind of talked to a few people there. But we've talked to B Gun on some stuff, and he's helped us with some artwork over time. And
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, Brad's a great resource, huh? Like that
he's a
dude, he's amazing.
he's a good dude. He's always been a good dude.
Always has been. Yes. Very much so. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So is there any other and by the way, Brad, yes, we're still going to do an episode with you. So uh is there any other do you have any plans for any other shows coming up? Like where's kind of the spots you guys try to play in the Minneapolis St. Paul area right now?
I will. George probably wants us to play a lot more shows than we play.
Okay.
We kind of slow roll our shows, and that's mainly because of me. Um, I I want to play shows that matter. I
Yeah.
do not want to grind. I don't want to. I don't want to play a basement show on a Thursday night because somebody offered it to us. I want to play shows with bands that I
What do you
like, stuff
mean?
like that.
I'm just kidding.
No, but we all did it, right? Like we've
Exactly.
all been there. We've all played a garage on a Wednesday night down in somewhere in Wisconsin because we
Totally.
were on tour and there were 5 people there and the place smelled like vomit.
Yes. Yes.
You
Yeah.
know,
That
Also, Dean sent a picture around right before Halloween, and the costume was a staircase with a 8x10 SBT cab.
Yep.
I'm
Man.
particularly not interested in basement shows.
Right.
Like that.
and to be honest, that's not even to say we wouldn't play a basement. It's just
Sure.
we want to make
No.
sure it's the right thing and that we're playing with
Yeah.
bands we really like,
Of course.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Our target for our next show is probably sometime in like February or March of 26.
Right on. Okay, cool. So then where is the best place for everybody who's listening that wants to follow you guys to follow you guys? Is it just basically through Bandcamp? Are you on any of the socials? And if so, which ones and where should people look for you?
We're actually really terrible about Bandcamp. We're probably better about Instagram and Facebook
Okay.
because, we're old. Most of our releases, as much as we probably shouldn't support them because they support evil things as Spotify. We're trying to push in more directions, but
Got it.
where audiences are is kind of where audiences are.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Right on. Well, I will make sure that I post a link to your Bandcamp and I'll find your Instagram and make sure people can get to that as well. But yeah, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me tonight about all the stuff going on with your band. It's just super fun to hear, I mean, just what you've been doing for as long as you've been doing it, and plus the history that you all bring to this, and then just how that organically comes across as just, it sounds like a really that organic push and pull collaborative effort. And there's no kind of one vision to it at all. And that feels for me chaotic and really fun. And that's part of what I really love about it. But I was just super stoked to have you guys on. So thank you so much for doing it.
Thanks for having
No,
us.
thanks for having us, man. This is awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Crows Club presents B-side breakdown.
Say ya, birds who have flown its goodbye. Before you go, I will it on to start again. I'm not sure quite who
All right, and that wraps up another episode of the B-Side Breakdown. I want to thank Too Late But Still for coming on to talk about their song Feedback City. In the background, you're hearing the song Goodbye Before You Go by the band Banquets. If you like what you hear, please go back and listen to the previous episode because that's what it was all about. Up next, I have the Jukebox Romantics and their song The Walk to Heartwood. I'll give you a taste of that at the end of this episode. I want to thank Adam Coulong and Carrie Bozel for helping me put together the jingle you hear at the beginning and the end of this episode. Please subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcast. I thank you so much for your continued support in keeping this labor of love alive. Stay safe and sane out there as best you can, and we'll catch up on the next one. Thanks.
The roar became a hum, so you left it all behind. But now you're settled with nothing, man. You really live in a fucked up state of mind. You've been looking